Awesome. This is Stacie Ysidro, and I'm here with Deborah Wilder. We're over here at St. Pete Retreat in St. Petersburg, Florida. So thanks for coming out to play with us.
Yes, beautiful. The retreat center is so beautiful.
And we have a nice day too. And you may hear some urban retreat noises in the background, just to remind you that we're still in a cool city, as close to the beach as we are. So today we're going to talk to Deborah in this video a little bit about her story and what she does. And then we'll do another video and dive deeper into the topic of solo tantra and solo practice. And we will even do a bonus embodiment video for you, which is super cool. Deborah is sharing her gifts with us today. So we met actually at a Power Gals, at a women's networking event, and found that both of us were in the space of coaching and tantra. So tell us how you got into this.
Yes, so I work strictly with solo tantra, which can branch out to couples practice as well. I got started after doing yoga, going to India in 2009, 2010, and a meditation teacher, and I'd already been doing Qigong energy practices, which had some similarities to Tantra. And I wanted to go past the yoga. So yoga and Tantra came from the same place. Yoga's part of Tantra. So I wanted to learn how to be even more in touch with my body and how can I move energy even more. And Qigong was great for that, but I wanted to, of course, add in different things like sexual practices or solo practices as well. So I happened to meet a Tantra teacher that asked to train me one-on-one. And so I did that with her and learned the practices and then started teaching myself. So for me, working with couples or partnered people was great, but it didn't feel like the path because I met just so many people, endless people that didn't have a practice partner, whether they were single or they were married. Just so frequently they're with a partner that doesn't want to practice or only wants to practice a small amount. For me, I believe it was important to have that foundation in solo work and then adding in a partner. So since 2013, I've been working in solo tantra with my website, Solo Tantra, and I've seen thousands of people in person. The last few years, though, I've been just doing online courses, and I hope to branch out and go back to doing workshops in person later this year.
That's awesome. I love that you focus on the solo piece because a lot of people do ask oh, I don't have a partner. Can I still do this? Or they think that they have to have a partner to do this. And like you said, I think that the best place to start is with yourself. And then you can share that with someone else. And yeah, it's fun to have a partner too, but it's really about this first.
Yes.
So I think that's amazing that you focus on that.
Yeah, and if you don't have this first, how can you connect in that way to someone else? Maybe you can halfway connect. I think if you've tried practicing it where you didn't have that connection that day to yourself, you're stressed or distracted or just low energy that day, and you try to practice with a partner, for me, it feels different. I have to first be rested and in touch with myself before I'm connecting with someone else. But yeah, I don't know if that's the way with so many other Tantra teachers, but I am always meeting people that don't have a practice partner.
Yeah. And I think also it's that piece around, if you don't, if you don't love yourself, then how can you really love someone else? Or if you don't, have compassion for yourself, how can you give that to someone else authentically? There's that giving, receiving continuum there. And so if we're, only in the one side and constantly seeking outside of ourselves, then we're just like set up for failure and disappointment, because we're putting the responsibility for our connection and our pleasure on to someone else as this like expectation for them to do something for us or to us. And then it's the perfect thing to be like, oh, look, it doesn't work. They didn't do this. I'm not good enough. You're not good enough. No one's good enough. The end. And that can be really disappointing.
Or they decide to get a divorce because they don't feel right, or their partner won't practice with them.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that Tantra is a great practice to, one, like process your own stuff, process your own emotions, learn to love yourself first. And also, I think this could be a great practice for repair, because it does help to energetically reconnect you and start to build that foundation again. So oftentimes, like when trust has been broken or someone has been harmed, like it takes time and energy in order to rebuild that trust and rebuild that relationship with someone. And I feel like the Tantra practices help to give me the bandwidth to hold space for repair to happen.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I have seen a lot of people who come from a trauma background and they only feel comfortable working with themselves or finding that one coach or Tantra massage person to trust to move into doing healing or couples work with them. But it definitely, like, there's very specific practices for clearing old energy or learning how to be calm in the moment and ignite that sexual energy or be connected to yourself deeper.
Yeah, I love that. And what's coming up as I'm listening to you is that it's also the theme of like, this is love and energy. It's not like a zero sum thing. It's not like, okay, there's 10 pieces, and if you have 5, then that means I can only have 5. And then if they take 3, then now all of us have less. Like, that's not the way it is. It's like there's actually enough for everyone everywhere. It's this infinite flow, which I think is really, really cool. And Tantra's really taught me that and gotten me into a space of really embodying that and feeling that, because it's one thing to like know it in our heads, right? But it's another thing for me to actually feel it in my body and live that principle and see that principle show up in my life. So yeah, I love these Tantra practices for that.
Yes. So it's not just about the body, it's how it changes our whole life. And we start to manifest or see what we want to be in our life.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I love that. So is there something that like made you specifically move towards Tantra and energy work, or was it always kind of like a thing for you growing up? How has that shown up?
Once I started learning energy practices and being able to just say, feel energy in my hands or going up my spine, doing Kundalini yoga pretty young, that's when I wanted to just let me find all this other stuff out there. But yeah, as a child, I was always very sexual. Like, I didn't see things wrong with it or things wrong with having multiple partners. And that is how I got started in it as well. Like with my Tantra teacher, having her belief was like, if we have certain wiring from childhood that makes us have the ability to hold space for people coming to seek that, like sexual healing or sexual mindset changing. Whereas if I had had a totally different mindset as a child, thinking sex was dirty and you have to hide it and you can only be monogamous and you get it done as quickly as possible and the woman doesn't have to orgasm, it would have been hard for me to change that and then to go on to teaching.
Yeah, it would have been a different journey.
Different journey.
It just would have been a different journey. And I love hearing that from you, because a lot of times we do hear people that that is their story.
Yeah.
And that's their big deal. It's like, I was so repressed and I thought all these negative things, and then now I'm free and I'm going to tell the world and all the things. I call it like this coffee buzz newness, which is really fun and exciting. And then I remember being at a point like, especially in business stuff, when they're like, you know, what effect do you want to have on your clients? And, you know, who is it that you serve? Getting real markety about it. And I was just kind of like, this is just kind of how I am. Like, I was kind of born that way. Like, I don't ever not remember being connected. Like, I was always connected to my sexuality and I wasn't shamed over it. So I don't really feel like I have some big hero's journey around conquering, I don't know, whatever, masturbation or, you know, like,
or
they're rubbing one out in here too, you know, I'm over here like that. Now go to your room. So yeah, I'd love to hear that, that you felt like that this was just a space of your being, and that there are people who that this is a space of their being, and we have just as much to share with others from this space. As someone who does have some transformational journey, you know, as far as like, you know, 0 to, you know, 60. So that's really cool. Everyone has their own path.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's tell people how they can find you. I know you mentioned your website. Say that again, and your social media, and we're going to put that in the notes for this. And then we're going to do the next video and go deeper into the solo Tantra stuff and what that means and what that looks like in your life. So
my website, where all my online courses are, is solotantra.com. And then I also have some courses. On Udemy with my name, Deborah Wilder, but all my other courses are on solotantra.com as well. And that comes with email questions. So since we all come from different places or want to learn different things, I will email questions or additional practices as well.
that's awesome. Cool. Yay. Thank you. Yay. This is fun. Okay. Part 2 coming up.